Hi, hello, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Welcome to heartstaticpodcast. In case you're new here, my name's SK, and welcome to Heartstatic, the podcast where we tune into the background noise of our thoughts, feelings, and everything we're too afraid to say out loud. I wanted to quickly shout out a few people who have been commenting and sharing their support. I need you guys to know how grateful I am for you guys watching these videos or listening to this podcast at all. It really, really means so much to me. Jack, thank you so much for commenting on my podcast episodes on Spotify, and to @Daya and Space for commenting on my latest episode on YouTube. Keep commenting, keep sending my podcast to other people. I don't have access to who subscribes or follows on any platform, but to those who do, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas for a future episode, please don't hesitate to reach out to my email, heartstaticpodcast@gmail.com. I'd also love to shout out my roommates, Marcella and Maddie, for giving me the idea for this lovely episode, Dealing with Roommates. I've lived with Marcella and Maddie for the majority of my time in college, with Marcella since freshman year. We've dealt with a series of subletting ourselves, and have heard some outrageous stories. So basically, we know what it's like to live with others, no matter how crazy they might be. Now, I know that this is a topic that we actually love to talk about, which is contradictory to this podcast where it's like stuff we don't like talking about. Which is okay. But, I mean, we'll bitch to our friends all the time about crazy roommates, or someone's girlfriend always being over. Unfortunately, not a lot of us like to talk about the issue with the issue, which is why we're talking about it here. Let it out. Vent to me. Let me know how it is. I grew up, and still am, an only child, and living with other people was a big adjustment for me. I was afraid of having offensive habits or just like being in anybody's way, especially when I first moved to college and I had to live in a room with somebody else. Again, something very foreign to me. And sharing a room with someone for the first time is a very unique experience, I want to say, and that's something that you usually acquire in college. Sometimes people live with their siblings at home, but even then, that's different because that's your sibling, you know what I mean? But it was definitely an adjustment learning how to live with somebody else when they're there, because there are just some things that get in the way of your groove. Now, if you haven't lived in a dorm before, the way it was at my school, it's 2 beds, 2 desks, and you could like rent out a microwave or a fridge. And the fridge is like a mini fridge. It's a mini fridge. And so you could put food in it. Awesome. Nice. Love having food in the room. That was also a unique experience for me. That was also special. That was really special for me, having food in my room. But I didn't realize how normal it was for people to just take people's food. Hello? That's mine. Like, I don't understand why people think that they could just go into that mini fridge and take whatever's in there. Yes, it's your mini fridge, you're probably splitting the cost of it, but that's my shit. That's your shit. I'm not taking your shit. Why are you taking my shit? This isn't directly towards my roommate, by the way. This isn't directly towards Marcella. This is just general. Please don't get offended. I'm sorry. It's not you. But there are people who do that. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I don't know what crosses somebody's mind. Okay, so say my roommate and I are both in my room. We're both making coffee. I say, oh shoot, I ran out of creamer. And my roommate says, hey, you can borrow mine. Guess what that means I do? I take her creamer and I pour a little bit in my coffee so that it's, comfortable for me to drink, seal it properly, put it exactly where it was, and never touch it again. Some people like to apply this concept of blanket consent. I don't know if that's a real term. If it's not, I'm coining it. Trademark, mine. Mine. Blanket consent. Why do people feel like, oh, well, she said it once, so she could do it all the time? No. No, I will never touch my hypothetical roommate's creamer again unless she explicitly says, whenever you want. You can use my creamer whenever you want. If somebody says, oh, you can borrow my creamer, I'm not going to apply blanket consent to that because they didn't explicitly tell me. Even then, even if they do tell me, yeah, use my creamer whenever, I feel bad. I'm not going to touch that. That's yours. And when we get divorced, you're getting custody of that creamer because you paid for it. So I might as well not get attached. Maybe I'll get weekends, but, I'm an absent mother. I'm not gonna take care of that creamer. No, I will. But that's just me. Point is, like, I'm not touching that shit. You paid for it. You bought it. That's yours. Okay, next. General courtesy in shared rooms. Oh, I've heard so many horror stories of people's roommates having sex with their partners while they're asleep. What? Hey. What do you mean? What do you mean? In what fucking world do you think it's okay for you to sleep with your partner when your roommate's in the room? And if you think you're quiet, especially in those dorms, if you think you're quiet when you're having sex with your partner in that dorm bed, you are not. Why are you putting so much trust in that janky ass dorm bed? Hello? No. What? Why are you trusting that bed? If you think you're quiet in that bed, your roommate and I will tell you, no. Very much wrong. Also, if somebody's in the apartment with you, they can hear you, unless you do a test beforehand. You don't gotta do that if you don't feel like you should, but you should. If you're like, yeah, no, I definitely should, do it. Go do it right now. Do a test. Why are you having sex with your partner when there are people nearby? Unless that's a thing for you, in which case, no, it's not. You're too young for that. Sorry. You're too young. If you're in college and you're doing that and you're like, yeah, no, this is no. Your baby. What are you talking about? Wrong. This is my opinion. But it would be so much better to sexile your roommate. Say, I'm having sex with my partner. Leave. Okay, yeah, bye. Let me know when you're done. That's so much better. If your choices are kicking your roommate out or waiting until they fall asleep, they are not asleep. I promise you they are not asleep. And if they are, you're gonna wake them up. And that's not a noise. No one would ever set their alarm to you and your partner having sex, okay? That is the worst, absolute worst thing that somebody can wake up to in a college apartment. Maybe not, but that's pretty up there, okay? That's like top 10 at least. Jesus Christ. Okay, things change when you're living separately. Once you're able to live in a single or in an apartment with just like you in your bedroom, like me, stuff changes. And if you're living in a dorm in a double right now and you're like, well, that's okay. How can it be that different if the issue's already gone? Oh, don't worry. I'll tell you. There's still shared spaces in an apartment. If you're living with just any general rando roommates, there are still shared spaces. Unless you're bougie as fuck and you can afford your own bedroom, bathroom, and kitchen and living space. Now, number 1, bathroom. Everyone is particular in the bathroom. Everybody has their own routines, has their specific supplies. Shit's expensive, you gotta, use it modestly. But you have to remember that this isn't just your bathroom. And you can't just leave hair in the drain and forget. You can't. I don't care what gender you are. Don't do it. It's gross. If you actually forget, yeah, okay, fine. We're human. It happens. But if you do it every damn time you shower, and I open the shower and I look down and there's a weasel trying to crawl out of my shower drain, and I don't want to come up to you and be like, hey, your hair's in the shower. Because, I mean, depending on the roommates that you have, they might be able to say, that's not mine. That's yours. You have dark hair too. Maybe they sound like that. Maybe they don't. That's how they sound like in your head. And mine. Nobody wants to come up to you and tell you that you're living your shared life wrong. Nobody wants to say that, because you're in an uncomfortable position, and the person who's messy or inconsiderate is in a probably also uncomfortable position. If they deny it, then that's worse. Just own up to your shit. Just own up to your shit. Yeah, sorry, I am messy. I'll take care of it. I knew this guy who he had his own bathroom, but he would go to another floor's bathroom. This was like a house that they all lived in. He would go to another floor, shave his beard in the sink, and then leave it there for the other people to clean up. Hello? Do you think that's cute? Do you think you'll get the girls that way? What the fuck? And he had siblings. Like, I'm honestly at a loss of words, because maybe that's a man thing. Maybe that's a dick thing. Like, not having a dick, being a dick. Maybe that's being a dick thing. I don't know. But don't do it, because that's gross. That's gonna be the mantra of this episode. Don't do it. That's gross. Another thing towards people who menstruate. Do not flush your tampons. I lived with a roommate one time. We lived in a dorm apartment, and we had shared bathrooms, but because it was a dorm, we could access the facilities there. If something was wrong, we'd have to make a service request, right? Fix this, please. Online. Beep boop bop. Super simple. So this girl comes out and goes to Marcella, and she's like, Marcella, can you please fill out a work request form for our toilet? It's flushing weird. 2 minutes later, also, first of all, no, do it yourself if you notice the flushing is weird. Why can't you do it yourself? You're a big girl. You're in college. Do it yourself. 2 minutes later, somebody asks her something. She goes, oh, 1 sec. Let me go flush my tampon. Flush your what? Where's that going? What do you mean? That's why women have trash cans in their bathroom. If you're a man and you're like, why do women have trash cans? That's why. Because we menstruate, and that's where that shit goes. We don't just free bleed everywhere and let it go loosey-goosey, do laundry twice a week. Don't flush your tampons. Also, everywhere on campus, in any public bathroom, any communal bathroom, if you're in the dorms, as soon as you sit down in the toilet and you close the door, there's a big sign that says, do not flush feminine products. There's literally a tampon on it with a line through it. And a big no. So unless you like to go to the bathroom with your eyes closed, you're ignorant, or you're doing it on purpose. You gotta be doing it on purpose just to piss us off, I guess. And when we asked her, hey, did you think that the toilet's flushing weird because of your tampon flushing? And she's like, what? What do you mean? We're like, hey, you can't flush your tampons. And she's like, oh, well, that's weird. The septic tanks must be different in Texas. Many issues with that. 1, we live in a city. We don't use a septic tank. Septic tanks are for in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, where you need a special plumbing system. Also, we had another roommate who was also from Texas. And guess what she did not do? That's it. You guessed it. Flushed her tampons. Because it's not a Texas thing. It's a you thing. Because I guess you like to go to the bathroom with your eyes closed. Gotta focus. You gotta focus on it coming out. You gotta sit there and focus. You gotta think about it. And also, for some reason, people hate flushing their poop. Back to the communal bathrooms really quick. The amount of times that I've gone to a stall and there's boop. there's poop in there. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not touching that. What? Why do you not like turn around and go, hey, that's mine. Bye. That's gotta go away into the plumbing system, not the septic tank. That's gotta go bye-bye. Nobody wants to see. Maybe, you know what? I've been ignorant. They must be so proud of what they've produced that they're like, everyone's got the whole floor. Everybody gotta see this shit. Hello, flush your poop. Flush your poop. Oh God. People are so nasty in the bathroom. Why is there acne stickers on the shower? Why is there toothpaste on the ledge? Why is there no more toilet paper? Replace your toilet paper if you live with people. Chip in. You're an adult now. Maybe not a real one, but you know how to replace toilet paper. It's not that hard. Next, really quickly, honestly, just the one thing, really. Living room, don't have sex in it. Okay? Don't have sex on the couch. Maybe if you put a towel, but even then, you don't do it. Because God forbid, somebody comes home and they are greeted by your or your partner's ass. Or worse. Probably worse, but hopefully not worse. Hopefully not at all, because you won't be having sex in the living room. Next, kitchen. I'm convinced people are just blind to their own mess. Some people, they just cannot, John Cena that shit. You cannot see. All their little messes are little John Cenas. Can't see them. But I do. Oh, I do. I touch it too. Not on purpose, but now I gotta go wash my hands every time I touch the fridge. Gross. Clean it up. I live with someone where they would leave a spoonful of peanut butter in the sink, like on the spoon, just in the sink. At that point, you're just wasting peanut. Lick it off. You're wasting peanut butter. Lick it off and then put it in the sink. If there's like a little peanut butter on it, okay, yeah, that's normal. But a spoonful, you're just wasting money on groceries at that point. And then I'd find peanut butter on the fridge door and on the counter and on the floor. I'd mention it. Hey, that's dirty. Are you gonna? Do you know that? Do you know that's peanut butter is yours? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. I'll clean it up. I'm so sorry. Because apparently they're Canadian. But then they wouldn't, maybe a week of them obsessively cleaning in front of you. Oh my God, look, I'm such a good roommate. I'm cleaning. And then, by Monday, shit's back to normal. If you're gonna be messy, horrifically messy, and refuse to clean it up yourself, no matter how many times we ask you to, at least be a bitch about it. Be a bitch, so that we can feel better about bitching about you. Just be rude about it all. Dishwasher. Some people use it, but those who use it not always know how. I didn't know how to use a dishwasher until I was 16, and then I had to relearn it in college because I just learned it briefly for a babysitting job and then, immediately forgot. My parents at home, they just didn't. It also kind of got stuck, and I didn't know we used the dishwasher until I asked my mom. I was like, hey, I came home from college after learning the wonders of a dishwasher. I said, hey, we have one of those. Why don't we use it? She goes, we do. No, we don't. I have not seen anything come in or out of the dishwasher. I'm trying to open it up and the button's not working for me. Tight as a... Right. When do we use the dishwasher? She's like, for parties. I run it every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks? What are you talking about? Anyway, my parents just preferred to wash dishes, and that's fine. Some people are like that. But if you're gonna use the dishwasher, don't put stuff upright. If you don't know how, ask. Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. I felt embarrassed asking an adult at 16, how do you do this? Yeah, it's embarrassing, but once you learn, it is the greatest gift that you will ever receive when working in the kitchen. The best! But, okay, this episode is kind of turning into how to live without your parents. When you put it, okay, really quickly, bowls or plates go upside down or tilted downwards, or Tupperware. It does not go upright because water fills in it and it doesn't clean all the way through, and then when you take it out, water will get everywhere. If you have silverware, if it's like butter, lick it off. If it's peanut butter, lick it off. Lick it off. And then put it in the dishwasher. It's so easy. It's so easy. And then, but also don't just like throw it in there. I had a roommate who it looked like she just like closed her eyes and went bowling into the dishwasher. If you see the plates, maybe this is probably me being particular now, but if you see like 3 plates in the back and you have a plate in your hand and you're like, where do I put this? Tentative suggestion, next to the 3 other plates, facing the right way. Like little soldiers ready to get washed. Because then that just like messes up with like future dishes that might have to go in a particular way. If it's like a super big bowl that doesn't fit up on top. If it's a baking sheet or baking pan, what are those tall ones? Casserole dishes? Whatever. Something like that. That will have to go on the bottom. And if your plate is in the way and it's dirty, I gotta touch it. And I don't want to touch it. Don't make me. Gross. That's gross. Some people don't like to use the dishwasher at all, which, again, fine. I grew up like that. That's okay. But it also means that you have to do your dishes. You have to wash them. And you have to put them back in the cupboard when they're dry. You can't leave dishes in the sink for days. Where I live, composting is a really big thing. And especially in the summer, gnats love to get in. Or like fruit flies or those tiny little annoying little shits. They get in the house. They love to float from the compost to the sink. You know why? Because you haven't done your dishes. And it's inconsiderate for everybody else. If I have to wash my dishes and I have to, do parkour with my hands over your stuff, gross. Don't leave it in there for longer than a day, 2 days if it's like really clean-ish, if it's just like bread or whatever, or like egg. I don't know. It's okay if you don't use the dishwasher, but you gotta do your dishes, because if you don't, that's gross. I hope you enjoyed me bitching about what it's like to live with others, and if you are the messy roommate, completely blind to your own mess, either fix up your act or be a bitch so that we can talk about you. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy my music, they're made by my friend Dari Kolchitsky, and you can find more of his information at warmglowrecords.com. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow this podcast wherever you find yours. Also follow the Instagram at heartstaticpodcast, where I post clips, updates, and anything you want really. Just DM me and let me know. Also, like I said before, if you have any suggestions for a future episode, you could email me at heartstaticpodcast@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear your heart static.